What's up, my YouTubers? All right, so check it out. Today I'm getting on to speak a little bit about. I was gonna do an interview, um, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do the interview today. So I'm getting on just to speak a little bit about DUI, the effects it has, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. Well, I can use. I got so many examples. Been getting so many updates about certain situations, certain DUIs and stuff, and it's just crazy. Crazy on how much effects it has on people. But for example, I'm gonna use myself as example and my family. Reason being is, being this DUI incident that I got into. And mind you, it wasn't my fault. I just happened to get hit by a DUI driver at 4:50 a.m. On a Tuesday morning. And so if you look down on my YouTube channel under DUI accident, the day that changed my life forever, part 1 of 2, that gives you pictures of my pickup truck. It gives you two little 30-second video clips, Snapchat video clip of me suffering in my pickup the actual morning of the accident. So come September 18th, it's gonna make 4 years. I want to go on live, and I want to have my wife here with me. That way she can read any questions you guys got. I want to tell my full story, finally get the full story out there. Because, at the events, at the high schools I talk at, I don't get to tell the full story. At the DUI classes, I cut it a little short. This way they have questions they can ask me and I answer them. The other events I have, I'm, on a time limit. So come September 18th, it's gonna make 4 years, and I want to get on. I want to tell the full story, and I want it means people get on as possible and ask me whatever questions they have for me. But just the reality of drinking and driving is just outrageous, and it's not slowing down any. Even during this whole COVID, I know that the rates had came up. Considering you figure it would slow down, but it's going up. Just the rates of DUI drivers is going up dramatically, and but like I said, I was gonna use me, myself, and my family as a perfect example. Uh, so we're in a predicament now, for the moment, anyways. We're getting a lot closer, uh, but we're in a predicament. The only reason why we're in this predicament is because so Friday I had I had an event, I had a DJ, which would we wouldn't be in this predicament, but it got postponed because somebody got sick. I had another one Saturday that got canceled because of a family emergency, which most important, hopefully everybody's good. But being those got canceled and postponed on me, it put us in a predicament. If I was able to be working still because I was a truck driver, I wouldn't be in this predicament. But due to so my pickup truck was an old pickup truck, so I was only able to get liability on my pickup truck, and the people on the other car didn't have insurance, let alone didn't have a job. So that left us homeless. Because we got nothing out of it. I got nothing out of it besides uh, dying 3 times and multiple surgeries, still multiple surgeries yet to come, leaving me completely blind and losing a leg. But on top of all that, it just left us in certain predicaments and pretty much trying to figure out ways to come up with our rent, let alone our bills. For example, my SSDI, Social Security Disability, I'm only getting a week. I'm only getting a month what I was making a week. So what I used to make in 1 week, I get that now a month, and that doesn't even cover rent. It doesn't even make rent, let alone bills. And unfortunately, my wife's job slowed down dramatically to the point where she's pretty much is has to go and find a second job, which is unfortunately because it just shouldn't have to be that way, but it is, and all due to a person's selfish act a selfish decision of getting behind the wheel intoxicated, which it could have been avoided. That's why I always say it's an incident, not an accident, because an accident is just that, it's an accident. But an incident is something that could have been avoided. But in this case, this person chose to get behind the wheel and go driving on a Tuesday morning at that. And this person's main back road happened to be my main way to work. But so now, we're in a predicament that we're trying to figure out a way to come up with our rent. Like I said, if these events didn't get canceled, we would have had it, no problems. Plus, we would have had money for bills that we fell behind on. But unfortunately, we don't. And now we're in a predicament to where we either come up with our rent by Wednesday or we're going to get evicted. And that sucks because, me being the way I am, having to live in the car again, my kids on top of it, and the school district ain't willing to work with the kids at all. The schools they go to, they're willing to work with the kids, but the district's not. It's either, the district's a joke, honestly. The school district's a joke. Matter of fact, I got to find out the name of it, but it's something to do with the schools pipeline to prison. Pretty much, the schools ain't set up for helping any kids with going through trauma or going through anything in the households. It's pretty much shut up, sit down, go to school, and learn. You don't have no choice. It's not set up to help kids at all whatsoever. And if kids are going through trauma, like for example, with my kids, when it happened to me, all they knew that I was gonna die. The doctors kept telling them that I was gonna make it, start making plans, take me off the machine. There was no chance for me to live. So they wanted to be by my bedside, and they missed a lot of school because they were by my bedside. As the school was working for them, but the district pretty much called us in for a meeting, mandatory meeting, no way to get a hold of them because they had I had just got out of the hospital. I had a brain appointment to go to, and I had to cancel that brain appointment, which I really needed to go to. And the sheriff that was in charge of the district for SARB, every time I tried telling me, I had a brain appointment, I was in the hospital, I was dying, my kids were by my bedside, they wanted to be by my bedside, and she shut me up. She shut me right in the middle of it, and she said, I don't care, that's none of our business, that's your business. Your kids need to be at school, they needed to learn, plain and simple. So now they got put on probation, it was all bad, the school district's a joke. But the schools that they were going to was trying to work with us. But the district wasn't. And at that point, I say, you know what? Everybody that was there in the meeting came out and tried to help us and gave us cards to lawyers and stuff that was willing to back us up. And that was cool. Again, those are people that was there from different schools and stuff. They said that the lady was wrong. She was completely wrong the way she went about it. And but again, coming back to where we're at now, due to this drunk driver, now we're in a predicament to where we have to come up with the rent by Wednesday or we're getting evicted again. And being the fact that we get evicted, we have nowhere to go but our cars, leaving our car. And that sucks. And it really does. But it is what it is. We can't change it. We can't. We just gotta try and make the best of what we do got. So I try to keep positive of everything, even though we keep getting hit with tidal waves. Being getting behind the wheel and driving drunk. It leaves a ripple effect. But for both sides of the family, for the driver and the driver's side of the family, they end up dead or end up severely injured like I did, or end up being locked up. It's not just the driver that's going through it, but it's the driver's family that goes through it too. But same thing as the the statistics. I say statistics. I don't consider myself a victim, but I found the statistics uh, of a DUI driver. But same thing with me. It's not just me going through it. It's my family's going through it too. And being the fact that now we're dealing with this again, all over. It's like, but we were blessed, and this realtor took a chance for us, and I thank them, all the way. But the only bad thing is now we're in a predicament to where my wife's hours drop, and I obviously can make my events got canceled. One got postponed, one got canceled, and I have no way to make it extra side money. So my only best bet now is to ask people for help, and that's something I don't like doing, especially because I had a couple people hit me up saying, you know what, why don't your kids work? A lot of my kids ain't old enough to work, and one of my daughters is going to school, and school takes everything, and the other one of my daughters just started working, and so it's kind of like, come on now. And two of my kids don't live with me, but I threw that in my face. You guys got to come together as a family. Your kids need to work and start paying rent, but in the same time, it shouldn't have to be that way. And it's like, come on, how's that going to help me now in this predicament that we're in right now, by sitting there hounding me about my kids need to work and they need to help us pay rent? That ain't going to help shit right now. So, but then again, during this time, I had a lot of people, I don't want to say turn their backs on me. I had a lot of people stay, they rock with me through thick, through thin, they still rock with me. But I had a lot of people pretty much turn their backs on me and just completely ignore me, or, not talk to me, and use the excuse that, I can't see you like this. But the same token, my family has to see me like this all the time. I have to live like this. So to me, that's just a cop out, bullshit excuse. But in the same time, this is the effect that, a family goes through, that's been part of the statistics of a DUI driver. It's not just the people in the car, it's their family as well that has to deal with it. And there's many situations that I could talk about, people that I know that died, their family that has to deal with it. As a matter of fact, this is one situation. I was speaking to this one person, and he was talking about a good friend of his got into an incident, something to do with the DUI. I don't know if this person was drinking or the other person was drinking, but they had another person in the car with them, and the person passed away, and the other person that was in the car with them didn't get hurt at all, but claiming that the person is very mentally, dramatically impacted by it. And now, not only that person's family has to deal with that person's death, but now they're worried, they're getting sued. They're getting sued to get the house taken away. They're getting sued to get all the cars taken away. And it's like, come on, man. That person didn't get hurt. The other person died, and the family's dealing with that person's death. Now, on top of it, to get sued and taking a chance to lose the houses and the car and everything, taken away from his family, his kids. It's just wrong. And this is just one of many that I know about personally. And luckily, my god brother can come out here, and he's gonna do an interview on his day off. Matter of fact, B, he's gonna come back on here when he gets a chance on his next day off and do a part 2. And the one I was supposed to do last week, and then he said today. And yeah, to be quite honest, I don't think he's gonna do it. They had another individual said that he was down to do it. Talk about, he had his class A, and he got behind the wheel intoxicated. And while we were talking about that, if he ever gets on, I've been trying to get him to get on, because he said he was down to do it. But that's iffy. he's lagged on me on a lot of things. So I doubt he's gonna come through with me for that, come through for me with that interview. But hopefully he does. Hopefully he does. Being that we were close at one time. We were real close, and but honestly, after my incident, we kind of I don't want to say part ways. We would never part ways, but uh, our friendship kind of separated a little bit. And so hopefully, he does come through for me and does this interview. And I had another individual that was going to get on, but he was too embarrassed because he speaks broken English. And he said, he doesn't want people making fun of him, which I was really doing in Spanish, but I know a lot of my people that get on here and listen don't understand Spanish. So, I didn't want to do the whole interview in Spanish. And being, most of you won't be able to understand it. But in the same token, I was trying to express to them, it's not about your broken English, because people don't care about that. It's the message that I'm trying to get across. And something that I'm very passionate about, something that I really want to do. So if any, I've been asking a lot of people multiple times, and if anybody, for you guys watching this or watch this later, if yourself or anybody ever been impacted or found in the statistics of either driving under the influence or a victim or a family of a victim, and you want to come on and tell your story and help me send this positive message about not drinking and driving, please hit me up, contact me. My information will be under the description, as well as my Cash App and my Venmo, because we're at a time right now we need help catching up on our bills. We got everything about to shut off on us. Hopefully we get rent paid in time, and if we do, then the next thing is our bills, and we have to figure out how to come up with the rent again next month. And being that whole fact, my wife's hours she's literally got dropped from 8 to 10 hours. And this IHSS, we get IHSS too, but being that she's my wife, it's her job. She's supposed to do this and wash my clothes and cook for me. It's her job. So they won't pay her any extra hours. She's literally all they're giving us is I want to say 5-10 hours a week, something like that. Pretty much an hour a day, and that's pretty much just to shower me. Nothing extra enough for taking my dog to. We tried fighting it. The union tried fighting it, but unfortunately, they found a category. You're his wife. That's your job, anyways. You would do that anyways. So almost to the point where, what do we have to do? Just to get any kind of real help and lie to the system. That's what they force people to do. Lie to the system just for we can make ends meet, pretty much. But being that we're so honest the way we are, we won't do that. We don't want to get caught. We don't want to get in trouble for none of that bullshit. Because not only that, even if we did, for example, that would affect my SSID, Social Security Disability. So either way, it's like for example, I make too much in unearned income. Me personally, I put money in my disability for something like this as they happen, or my camp retirement. I earn this money, but they say, I make too much money in unearned income, so we can't collect Section 8, we can't collect any kind of cash aid, we can't collect food stamps, we can't collect none of that stuff from the state because I make too much money in unearned income, let alone my unearned income doesn't even make rent or bills. It's a joke. What I'm making a month in my unearned income, my Social Security disability, I was making in a week. And this just affects, it has. So you can be pretty much, what I'm saying too is, you can be on top of the world making all this money. All it takes is pretty much anything. It takes anything, but in my case, it took a drunk driver. all it took was a drunk driver just to put it into that in a second. And that's why, I'm trying to make something positive out of this. I'm trying to, send a positive message and help people be more aware of their surroundings and not be more responsible of drinking and driving. Because, you got people that goes to the bar, get behind the wheel and take off while they're drunk. You're not guaranteed to make it home. You may have been lucky 20, 30 times, but it takes that one time. That's all it takes. For example, I know a lot of people, because of my incident, they stopped drinking and driving. And, it took them to see me in the hospital to stop drinking and driving. But there is still some people that went see me in the hospital the way I was, but yet still drinking and driving. And, when I bring it up, they kind of like, oh man, what about this? What about all the stuff's going on in the streets? Yeah, I understand all that. But why make it worse? Why put yourself in that predicament to make it worse? Put yourself in that situation to make it worse. So, some people are grasping it, some people are not. But the ones that are not, they're pretty much helpless. I'm not going to change them. I'm not going to change their mind. I'm not going to make them realize and open their eyes to the fact of the dangers of drinking and driving. But the ones that I can, that's why I want to get other people's stories on here. So whoever wants to, like I said, get my information, have them hit me up, even if it's yourself. Other people's stories will impact other people differently. Like my story is powerful, yes, but other people's stories will impact different people in different ways. For example, like I at one of the high schools I was speaking at, excuse me personally, the girl that went up ahead of me, her story was more powerful. It was more impactful. And the reason why I say that, they had me speaking last. In this case, I wish I would have spoke before her. But she was drinking and driving. She was the one that was behind the wheel. But she turned her life around. But she was a victim of her own crime. Unfortunately, she was telling her story and everything the way she was telling, which I'll say later on. But to make a long story short, she ended up running over her dad and killing her dad because she chose to get behind the wheel drunk. And she's pretty much a victim of her own crime. But that's not the only incident that happened. There's another incident where a mom killed her daughter because she was driving drunk. And there's many more incidents that I know of that's happened. Like another one, pretty much family friend of mine's, his niece, his little cousins, or my, even her daughter, they got in a big argument, and one kicked the other one out of the car, and there was words exchanged. And when the sister got home, she found out that her sister that she got in a big argument with and got out of the car, wrapped her car around a pole and died. So many incidents. A lot of these I'll talk about later. I'm trying to get them to get on and talk about it. Do the interview, or not really necessarily an interview, but discuss their situations. Like I say, different people's stories will impact different people, differently. And I want to hit every angle as possible to get through to people on not getting behind the wheel drunk. For example, my case right now, if I didn't get hit by that drunk driver, I'd still be working. We still be living comfortably. I wasn't rich. We weren't taking vacations. Couldn't afford vacations, but we were able to afford paying our bills. We were able to afford gas, even though I don't know about now, gas is hella high. But, we were able to afford gas. We were able to put food on our table. We were living comfortable. We weren't living where we were taking vacations or buying extra stuff, nothing like that, but we were living comfortable. But unfortunately now, because of a drunk driver, we're not even living like that anymore. We're struggling paycheck for paycheck just to put food on the table, let alone bills and rent. And we've fallen about, so far back on our bills, everything's ready to get shut off on us. But now our main thing, this event's gonna get postponed and canceled last weekend, we wouldn't be in this predicament, but we're in this predicament again because of a drunk driver. But now we have to come up, we have till Wednesday to come up with the rest of the rent. And then after that, we have to worry about our bills getting shut off. But honestly, if they get shut off, I won't be able to get on YouTube no more besides the telephone. But we get shut off, you know what? At least we got a roof over my kids' heads. And that's more important than anything. We're going to be hotter than shit, but, it's the way it is. As long as we have a roof over our heads, that's what counts more than anything. And as far as food on the table, everything gets shut off. I don't know how we're going to do that. Get an ice chest, pack it up, but we won't be able to cook or nothing. We won't be able to cook nothing in the microwave. Our stove is an electric stove, so it's not a gas stove. But even then, if our gas gets shuts off, we're kind of, what we're going to do, eat fast food, and how we're going to save up to get our bills turned back on. So, it is what it is. This main thing I'm getting on right now is, so if you look down under DUI accident, the day that changed my life forever, part 1 of 2, like I said, it shows pictures of me in my pickup truck, shows pictures of my pickup truck. And it has 2 little 15-30-second clips that the first person that arrived took on his Snapchat. And luckily we were able to get those. But, that was, of course, after you call 911 and stuff. But luckily we were able to get those. But they're in that video. And then after that, it gives a little sample of the speech that I give at the high schools. It's not the same ones that I give at the DUI classes. DUI classes, I have a little bit more time. The AA meetings, I have a little bit more time. And but I also end it a little early so I can answer questions. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any DUI classes or AA meetings, speaking at those events because gas is so high. I don't get paid for none of these events. I just do it for kindness out of my own heart and doing it for the right reasons and hoping to prevent any more statistics, or any more casualties of DUI driving. Either way, you're statistics on either side of the fence. Either you become a statistic as a victim or you become a statistic as a driver. So either way, I'm just trying to better the statistics, period. But, something I always push. And before I said my goodbyes, I just want to get on here real fast. This is supposed to be an interview that I'm posting right now, but it's just me, talking about my situation. And my Cash App and my Venmo will be down there in the description, as well as my information, my email, my phone number. So if anybody knows anybody wants to get on and tell their story, please, they're more than welcome. I would love to have them. The more, the better. And one thing, I always say, make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. Never leave the house angry. Even if you're fighting, you got to leave the house just to calm down. Make sure before you leave the house, you tell them you love them, because you're not guaranteed to come back home. As I was just going to work, it was my morning routine. I was going to work. I was going to have a good day. I was going to get paid, like, I want to say that day, like $350, $400 just for that day for, I want to say an average around a 6-hour day. That was pretty damn good money for that one day. But unfortunately, I never even made it to work. And I almost didn't make it back home, period, because I did die 3 times. They had to revive me 3 different times. Doctors had no faith that I was going to live. On the police report, CSP report, the report they got back from the hospital was patient is not going to survive. And I learned that because one of the events I do at the high schools, they were telling me, the reports they got back. And, it's just crazy. I talked to some of the firefighters that was there on scene. Yeah, I don't want to give too much because, I don't want nobody to get in trouble. But, it's just a trip, the effects, they say it's a ripple effect, but honestly, it's more like tidal waves and they don't stop. For us, it's going on. September 18th is going to be 4 years, and we're still getting hit with tidal waves. It's not just a ripple effect. It's more like tidal waves. Like now, if I was still working and everything, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But unfortunately, we are in this predicament. And so make sure you always before you leave the house, tell everybody you love them. Because you're not guaranteed to make it home. And in my case, I almost didn't make it home, but luckily I made it home a few months afterwards, but I made it home. I still got multiple surgeries to go. Speaking of that, my update on my MRI, I got my EEG. I guess that's what they call it in my brain. And because I had a brain bleed and brain swollenness and a lot more. And an MRI done on my brain because I now suffer from seizures now because of my incident. And but everything came back normal. Of course, I still got brain swollenness, but my brain bleed is no longer there. I do have brain tissue, scar tissue on my brain. So they want to keep me on my seizure medicine, which I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I still got brain swollenness. I do got a brain scar in my brain because of the incident. So I'm still susceptible to seizures, even though I haven't had one. So that's because I guess the medicine is working. So that's good news. I'm able to get on airplanes now. Rides, they say, that's up to me. Being that I'm completely blind, I might go dizzy on the ride, but that's completely up to me. Which honestly, hey, if I got green light that I can get on theme park rides, I'm getting on. It'll be fun. Closing my eyes. I don't have to close my eyes no more. And but make sure you tell your loved ones you love them before you leave your house. If you're mad, leave on a good note. Come back and finish the argument, whatever the case may be. But make sure before you leave your house, tell your loved one you love them, because you're not guaranteed to make it back home. And I'm out. Hope you God bless. Hope everybody has a good week. And I'll be back on for sure. We're gonna do a part 2 for next week. Part 2 is coming up for sure with B. You guys go back and look at. I think we named it interview discussing about DUI with the homie B. And so go check out that video. Check out the video of me DUI accident, the day that changed my life forever, part 1 of 2. Check out that video. And then we're gonna have a part 2 coming up next week with B. And hopefully I get some more interviews or more people to discuss their stories, their experience on, the situation. But all right, I'm out, everybody, and go check out those videos.